Yes, now. Sending love to the sounds worldwide. Astro Melody. Major one say more life, more love, more liberty. In the beginning I was so afraid. They told me I'm not listening cause I'm stubborn in the head. I know the Rastafari never leave this naughty dread. I give my life for liberty, more life we call instead. Life and liberty cannot be stopped on the whim of a bad mind day. Again, again, life and liberty born to be loved. So love all the life that you chase. Again, again, love washing over me. Life ain't gonna happen twice. What do we know? Where do we go? Love washing over me, yeah. Life, sweet life, ain't gonna happen twice. What do we know? Where do we go? Yeah. In the beginning I was so unsure. They told me I'm not right, so I better listen clear. Telling me their stories, all their lies and all their fears. I protect my energies, intentions always pure. Life and liberty cannot be stopped on the whim of a bad mind day. Again, again, life and liberty born to be loved. So love all the life that you chase. Again, again, love washing over me. Life, sweet life, ain't gonna happen twice. What do we know? Where do we go? Yeah.
Hailing out of Singapore, that is Mesa One, Life and Liberty, and that is off the DJ Astro Black produced rhythm, Transfuser rhythm from last year. Before that, Shaki Marie, a tune called Rise on the Jamrock 2021 rhythm on Crushproof Music, and that is actually a tune on a rhythm that came out last year. They've done a reworking of a 2020 rhythm in the year 2021. Before that, we heard out of Lagos in Nigeria, Jar Device featuring his wife, Eunice, a single called My King, My Queen on his own Shati B Productions. And then first tune from Germany's Tri X-Star, tune called Love on the Boom Rush Productions label out of Oldenburg in Germany. But as I mentioned, I did play that Transfuser rhythm tune from Mesa One out of Singapore with Life and Unity, and we've now got the producer of that tune here live and direct from the hills and valleys of northern New South Wales, DJ Astro Black. Welcome to The Yard on Radio 4ZZZ.
Thank you, Basmati. Thank you a lot for having me on your show.
No problem. Thanks for taking the time to have a chat here.
Not a problem at all.
I'd like to just let everyone aware of actually where you came from, who you are, who is DJ Astro Black, what's your background. We can hear from your accent you're not from around Australia way, so maybe take us right back and tell us a little bit of background of who you are and who DJ Astro Black is.
Sure. Well, yeah, I guess my accent gives it away. I grew up in California, in Los Angeles, and a mixed heritage with, Cuban, African-American, and, different mix-ups, bit of Greek, bit of all of that. So it's a bit of a melting pot. I've been in music, a good part of my life. I can't even remember when we weren't, in music. So, yeah. And, I've been living in Australia for quite a while now, and, doing reggae in Perth and Sydney, working with a lot of great singers and stuff, and just seemed like I've been doing it for a really long time now.
You're doing reggae music, and we'll talk about some of your productions a little bit later, but how did you get to that point? I note that you've done a lot of travel, a lot of experience, a lot of other music genres, and have interest in other music genres. Was it a sort of a slow journey to where you want to do things now?
Well, I guess you could say it was, because, when I first got interested in music, I was more into like soul and funk music, just as a product of the environment that I was in. But my father had lots of third world, Bob Marley, and all the reggae of the day. And so it was a constant in the house. And, I went to high school with a lot of Jamaican guys, and I always seemed to be hearing Yellow Man, all the early rappers, the dance hall guys. And it just seemed to always, captivate me, this vibe that it created. And, so it was just something that gradually happened. One day, I remember buying a bunch of cassettes at a shopping mall or something, and it was all reggae. And from there, I think I was just bitten by the bug. And, of course, the movement of Rastafari, the message, that comes in the reggae, especially the early reggae. It just kind of seemed to sit with me, more than any of the other stuff.
And did you find that travelling around the world, I know when I found travelling around the world, unlike Australia, you really had to really dig for reggae music, but in other countries, in other parts of the world, South America, Europe, the United States, it was more widely accepted, even mainstream in some ways. Did that really help with you exploring some other dimensions in the music? Oh,
yes, for sure. I mean, like in my travels, everywhere I've gone, Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, and to my surprise, a lot of Alpha Blondie, was everywhere I went. And like you say, you get to Australia and it's a bit of a shock that, this is a big island and the reggae isn't, besides Bob Marley, not even so much Peter Tosh and other bands, it's not a thing here.
Do you find there's some sort of connections, not just in the music, but other connections with travel and reggae music? I know when I was travelling, travel teaches a lot of things. It teaches obviously things like language and independence and food, but also teaches you about empathy and how to listen and some of those other skills that you learn that can really help you absorb music and reggae music better as well.
For sure. Somebody asked me the other day in an interview, what did reggae mean to me? And, for me, reggae is a teacher. It's a spiritual journey. It's messages. The vibe of reggae and anybody that I've come across doing reggae has always been positive. Of course, it's not a utopia where you haven't got other things, seeping into it. But for the most part, it's such a positive thing. And it just opens you up. I find just like travel, it just opens you up to so much more that's happening in the world, more than any other music, I think.
We'll play another tune in a minute, but just tell us a little bit about that first tune we played on the transfuser rhythm and the artist Macy One and some of the other artists on that particular rhythm.
Okay, well, Masia One, I met her in India. We automatically, we were standing next to each other. We had a chat, I think about some ganja or something, and we just automatically connected, and we kept the link. And when I was doing me and my brother, we were doing the project, she's one of the first people I thought of because I had already seen her perform. I knew what she was like as a person, and I thought she'd be perfect for the rhythm. And it turns out, she's actually had the most popular song on the rhythm was her tune.
There you go. Well, let's play another tune. This is the mighty Asterix, who's now based here in Australia, Gold Coast Way, tune called Ease. We'll talk about how this tune came about and what you think about this tune in a minute, but let's just hear the tune first. We're on The Yard with Radio 4ZZ's Basmati and reggae music each and every Saturday afternoon, joined interstate in New South Wales by DJ Astro Black. Keep it locked here. More chat and more reggae music coming up.
Yes, power people, mighty Asterix and Astro Melody. Don't say that you can't, cause I know that you will never can. I'm a selector. Judge, I know that you are musical director. Judge, I know you are musical and vector star. Alright. East, say we love me selector. Judge, I know that you the musical and vector. Moving in the right direction, come on star. Alright. Ain't no doubting. Ain't no doubting. Ain't no doubting. It's nice. Oh, nice. Ain't no doubting. When selector. Judge, I know that you the musical infector. Mighty Astro is the musical inspector. Yo, come on. We're playing it on the double beam, we're playing it on the rubber. But this I wanna tell you, said you just can't stop her. We rock it from the bottom and we rock it to the top. The reason tell you this one just can't stop. Let me say, ears full of me selector. Come along and do the musical infector. Yes, I tell you, me the musical inspector. Yo, but I tell you, say, come me say, ears full of me selector. Judge, I know that me the musical infector. Come along and moving in the right directions now. Alright, with the peace and love with the unity direction. Yes, we're gonna be a shining reflection. Says we're gonna rock it up and we're gonna rock it down. We're gonna make the people in the area them up there. Boogie down to the A1 sound. Boogie down to the A1 sound. And shout, ease, pull up me selector. Judge, I know that you the musical infector. Mighty Astro is the musical inspector.
Tune called Ease from the Mighty Astro. Production from DJ Astro Black, who we're having a chat to here on the Yard on Radio 4ZZZ. How did that tune come about, and what's the story behind that one?
Okay, well, it's real funny. I was, where was I? I was in Gold Coast, and I was, like, standing on a corner waiting to meet someone, and this brother rides up on the bike, and I could tell by the way he was dressed, so this guy's into Rastafari. So I just had a word with him, and we started talking, and he let me know who he, what he did, and I did a little research, and there was one particular song that he maybe put out, 10 or 20 years ago, because he's been doing it a long time.
Yeah,
I found out, but it was that song. When I heard his vibe, I was like, I want to get this guy on recording. So one weekend, he just came and stayed at my place, and we did 2 songs, and he's a dream to work with. He knows he's a seasoned veteran. He knows what he's doing in the studio. You don't have to do a lot of. That's all first take. That actually, Ease was the second song we recorded, and it just went in one take. He did the whole thing in one take.
Yeah, he's pretty switched on, pretty professional, Mighty Astro, for sure.
And I have to always say, like, my brother's mastering on it just always brings everything out. So it's I'm listening to Asterix, but I'm just listening to all the little subtleties that my brother squeezes into those songs and rhythms and stuff, and I'm just like, this is magic.
I'm just getting a vibe behind a lot of this stuff. It has a sort of a general vibe, trying to recapture a certain era or time in reggae music in the early 90s or late 80s. Is that the sort of thing that you're trying to look for?
Most definitely. Like my brother and I, being of that era, being into the reggae music, we know a lot of the foundation but the era that probably for our age and what captured us was definitely the late 80s and 90s, the feel, the innovation, and, you think of some of those artists that were out back then, Super Cat, and all these guys. So that's what we feel. And we feel it's missing in reggae, right now, that genuine feel of what reggae used to be through technology. Things grow, but you don't want to totally leave the foundation behind,
Mm-hmm. Well, it can be argued at this moment in Jamaica, for example, reggae music is, if you can use that word, evolving. It's changing into something. A few things, but whereas places like outside of Jamaica, Europe, United States, South America, they seem to be able to more move forward with what people know as reggae music, be it from a certain era or what have you.
Well, see, I think in the thing in Jamaica, and I work with lots of Jamaican artists, and I have lots of Jamaican friends, and we discuss it all the time that, because there's a lot of trying to keep up with the trend happening in Jamaica. So, they jump on Afro beats, they jump on the trap sounds to try to keep up with the bigger markets. And what's happening is their sound is getting left behind. Like I heard a guy say the other day, a dance hall producer say, we don't even call it dance hall anymore. We call it, what do you say, drum and dance, or, yeah, it was a total different dance and and B. That's what he called it because they were saying they're using lots of R&B sounds now. So he said, yeah, it's not. We don't even call it dancehall anymore. We call it dance and B music. And I'm like, huh. So they, they're the ones leaving the sound behind, really.
Mm-hmm. We might play another tune. This is from Benjamin's. I've not really heard much of this artist. The tune we're going to play is Foundation. Tell us a little bit about this artist and this tune.
Well, Benjamin's, he's our most prolific artist. Now, we don't actually sign anyone to our label. We invite people to come work with us, and, we build a foundation and a relationship together to, push us all together as a movement. And Benjamin's like, we send him rhythms constantly, and he's our most prolific artist. He's Jamaican, living in Houston, Texas, I think it is. And he's a dream to work with. He's a bit like Asterix. We one take and we don't have to do too much in terms of adjusting or, EQing and mixing. He's always delivers, quality to us.
Well, this is on a rhythm called, I think, the Boom Boom rhythm.
Yeah.
And the tune is Foundation. The artist is called Benjamin's. Once again, you're on the yard on Radio 4ZZZ. DJ Astro Black in the house talking about reggae.
And this one's for the dance hall. This is for all the dance hall lovers.
Put it down. Oh, na 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 na. A long time behind ya. Bust it from them. In the 80s, Benjamins come about. Me come see Heineken, Red Stripe, Dragon Stout. As a little bit of youth, me listen some big sound play out. When silver cut every sound boy short. And when me reach 10, full of lyrics in a mouth. Every school concert, well if a tune me shell out. Make them ball forward in a schoolyard and yell out. Them love the music, now sell out. I'm from the dancehall college where it's a rough and gritty. Man, I listen to early people, Bassan and Stitchy. Big head lecturer and the stereo Ricky. Them and they're wicked and wild and versatile and flow so witty. Foundation, man, a foundation. You to them and a track creation. Foundation, man, a foundation. Them say them a go style me then where them a wait for. Them change the tempo in the mid-80s. Me still a nook marble, me still a play big. Some DJ bust better than rabies. Ninja Man and Shabba Rankin, them couldn't play with. Send me a remix from, I'm not from St. Anne. Happy big up man like Bobby mention. Who passed me the mic from the revolution. And put on rhythm and say, go on, yeah, man. Foundation, man, a foundation. You see them and a track creation. Foundation, man, a foundation. Say them a go style me then where them a wait for. 2003, them call me Benjamin. Me take on the road and I pursue the thing. The gatekeeper, them never want let me in. Me pack a suitcase and might get up and in. I mash up anywhere me touch the mic and sing. Me still have vice up, me wanna few rhythm. Cause me know me I go shop, me say me know me I go sing. Cause music is all I bring, yeah. Mature all grown up, live and legit. Anything test me with frigid. I've been figured out like chemistry and physics. Tell some DJ get with it. Call me bad like jazz. We no new to the thing, long time we a cut record. Call me bad like jazz. And when me vice out, every girl a wet dress. Call me bad like jazz. We no new to this a long time we a cut record. Call me bad like jazz. And when me vice out, every girl a wet dress. Foundation, man, a foundation. You see them and a track creation, hey. Foundation, man, a foundation. How them say them a go style me then where them a wait for, hey. Foundation, man, a foundation. You see them and a track creation, hey. Foundation, man, a foundation. How them say them a go style me then where them a wait for.
Yeah, that definitely has a 90s dancehall feel to that one.
Yeah, when other people hear it, we love it. We feel good that we're making the mark.
You've got a number of artists, as you say, you invite in to run on some rhythms. Mighty Asterix, Mesa one we've talked about. You've also got Empress Candace out of Australia as well, Raz Tweldy. There's a few that I've never heard of before that on some of these rhythms we may not get a chance to play, but I'll play them in coming weeks, like Joseph Brown and Brilky Wilburn. I've never heard of these artists, but it's great that are they Jamaican or other countries?
Brilly Wilburn is a Jamaican artist. He's an up-and-coming artist.
Yeah,
actually, making his music is awesome. His voice is amazing. And, he's making a bit of noise there in Jamaica. Joseph Brown, he's a New Zealand artist that that lives here in Australia, that the song that we did for him, I think I had sent a promo out before we had an occurrence where he didn't want to be a part of the project anymore. So anyone that has the music with him on it, they've kind of got exclusive because he totally pulled out of the project, and we had to, pull it from the distributor and then get it back out again minus his track.
With the label that you're using for these artists, the method to get the music out there, it's not just you, it's
Melodic.
Melodic.
That's my brother Melodican. He plays melodica, so he's Melodican. I'm Astro. Together we're Astro Melody.
So is he involved in any of the production, or is it just a...
He is.
Right,
he's like, he's a chief musician, and, he's the fine tweaker. He's the air, you know what I mean? Like, we work close together, but if he hears something or I hear something, we're back to the drawing board and we start, fresh. And but like he's my magic, he's my brother, he's my magic. I wouldn't, as I say to him all the time, without him being Melody, we wouldn't have an Astro, you know what I mean?
So where to from here? You've put out a number of rhythms recently. Let's want to backtrack quite a little bit. Before these rhythms that we've been playing here and now, what about other productions back before? Were you doing any work and production work back before as well?
I was doing a lot of hip hop production, and I was on a label and stuff, working with rappers and backing rappers up, all over the world. And I was on a label that we had a bit of a disagreement. I guess we didn't see on the same page, and they just snatched everything that I was involved. They snatched it all off of, all the platforms and stuff. And as such as life, we had to move on from that. And, I took a bit of a break away from doing it all. And I just wanted to play music that made people dance. So for a while, I was, doing house music and that sort of stuff. But reggae music is always at the heart of everything I do. When I play house, you'll get some reggae vocals coming through it, or, the way I DJ hip-hop is more like a dance hall thing than a hip-hop DJ. So it's that the reggae has always played the part and is the foundation of what I do.
And, of course, hip-hop, that came from reggae music. DJ Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, all those guys back in the day, they took that influence, their heritage, didn't seem to quite gel in New York, but then they changed it around and changed it, morphed into hip-hop, etc. It's not reggae music anymore, but worked for them at the time. Yeah,
well, predominantly it was, the only thing that was different was the accent, was coming out. Because you think Biggie Smalls, Jamaican, Common, Jamaican, all these guys that were doing it are still Jamaican, so there's still, KRS-One and all these guys, so it's still Jamaicans, but now that are in America, so they were just speaking a different language and doing it to a different beat.
Okay, so where do we go for DJ Astro Black in the productions? Obviously, we're hoping to get some more travel involved and get out there and play some festivals and shows. But I do believe you are playing something locally down the Gold Coast recently as well. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, that's with actually Joseph Brown, and he's put together the summer reggae party to showcase his band. I'm just one of the acts. I'm glad to have a place to be able to go play music and stuff. But yeah, it's someone else's organization that I support, and I'm happy to have a place to go play music. Well, a lot of times they don't want because of the nature of not staging your own events. They know I DJ. I'm a reggae DJ. They want me to play Bob Marley and that stuff, which I sneak in, but I predominantly want to play Astro Melodies Records catalog more than anything.
Well, yeah, it's another avenue to get out there, and at least we're getting out there and doing music again.
Yeah, which, the festivals, the different festivals around the world that I, get to attend, they realize I'm only going to play Astro Melody Records, but it's like we know within Australia, their knowledge of reggae music isn't as broad as a lot of people, so you have to do the Bob Marley third world thing, but, hopefully that's going to come around to where they'll only expect me to play our catalog when they call me to come play with them.
Well, why not?
Exactly.
Astro Black, really like to thank you for spending a few minutes having a chat to the Yard here on Radio 4 Triple Z and telling us a little bit about your background, your music, your passion for reggae music, and a whole lot more. We're going to leave with one last tune. This is an exclusive to the Yard, Australian exclusive, world exclusive. What sort of exclusives have we got this next tune?
Okay, well, this is off of I like to say our upcoming project called the Igniter Rhythm. DJ Astro Black presents the Igniter Rhythm. And so I think you're about to play Christos DC, who's another good brother, I met in my travels, and, we decided to do something together. And it took a while because Christos DC is a very prolific reggae artist in the States, and he tours with, he used to tour with Joseph Hill from Culture. Now he works with Zenyatta Hill, who's Joseph Hill's son. And, he's working with international artists right around the world. So it was hard because he had so many projects, but he heard the rhythm and agreed. And, we back and forth on the phone and Messenger and stuff. And the song that he delivered, I think, is beautiful. So this is you are the first DJ anywhere in the world to get this music and actually play it on radio.
Thank you so much.
That's an honor.
Okay, DJ Astro Black, thanks so much once again for having a wonderful chat. Good to hear this music and you being able to get it out there, and we'll keep playing it as we have here on the Yard. This is Christos DC. I believe he's from Washington, DC. Christos DC.
Yeah.
The tune is called War and Peace, and it's on the new Igniter Rhythm. DJ Astro Black, thanks again. Thank
you for having us. On behalf of Astro Melody Records, Melodic and myself, thank you very much for the honor and pleasure to be on your show, Basmati.
Conscious word when spoken will give life sound and power. Mindful of the word you speak and live life in chat. War and peace in the minds of men, and it's a choice where you give your consent. War and peace in the minds of women, conscious thought, sense of life determined. Truth it have the power to offend. Let opinion make you have to defend. Point of view or belief extent, by definition of your greatest intent. Check to time before you have to defend. Never let opinion make you have to pretend. Arguments, they can be prevented. Argument to make you lose your best friend. Arguments, they can be prevented. Easy to break, it take a long time to mend. Friendship not borrow, me say friendship not lent. Miss a DC, say we come fi tell them. Tell them me enemy and spread it to me friend. Yes, Mr. Black, this a big tune again. War and peace in the minds of men, and it's a choice where you give your consent. War and peace in the minds of women, conscious thought, sense of life determined. Truth it have the power to offend. Let opinion make you have to defend. Point of view or belief extent, by definition of your greatest intent. Friendship not borrow, friendship not lend. Easier to break than it is to mend. War and peace in the minds of men, and it's a choice where you give your consent. War and peace in the minds of women, conscious thought, sense of life determined. Arguments, they can be prevented. Argument to make you lose your best friend. Arguments, they can be prevented. Easy to break, it take a long time to mend. Friendship not borrow, me say friendship not lent. It's a DC, say we come fi tell them.
Blessed love.